What is good, everybody? Welcome back to the O Show podcast, episode 428 of the podcast, presented by BetOnline.ag. Sign up for that 50% bonus only at BetOnline.ag. We are talking NFL and Major League Baseball playoffs. The postseason is rocking and rolling, Zach. I mean, we're live from our houses right now. I see you got my Warriors hat on right now. That's kind of weird, but I'll allow it.
You gave it to me, so that was that's to your own fault. But yes, it is. Last we checked when you were in dinner, Astros looked like they were about to go up 3-2. Did they not? I didn't see the end results. As that, I'm assuming
the Astros were up big time. Probably something we should have checked before we came on. The Houston Astros are up 3-2 in the series after defeating the Red Sox 9-1 today. So it wasn't even close. The Red Sox came out smoking in Game 3. Kyle Schwarber hits the grand slam. They go up 2-1. Rafael Devers, Kike Hernandez is having a postseason like you wouldn't believe. He's up there with the all-time greats. David Ortiz, one of them in Red Sox lore. But the Astros had a nice win. They put up, I think, like 7 runs in the 9th inning for Game 4 to tie the series. And then it wasn't even close today. Chris Sale on the mound, do or die Game 5. Absolutely shat the bed. And the Houston Astros are 1 game away from their 3rd World Series in the last 6 years.
At least not quite as dominant, but again, I don't know how that ended. But last I checked the score, Braves were up 3-0. It looked like last I checked. I don't know how that game ended, but
the Braves are also 1 game away from the World Series. So they won their match against the Dodgers. We interviewed a wrestler today. The game they won 9-2. So the Astros won 9-1. The Braves won 9-2. They put up 4 runs in the 9th inning at Chavez Ravine at Dodger Stadium. This was not at all what I expected. After Game 3, I'm like, I was with you. We were doing a podcast together. I was watching the game in our studio's video room, and they were just kicking ass. I thought, okay, the Astros are done after this. The Sox are at Fenway. They got 2 more games at Fenway. I could easily see them wrapping it up here. And the offense went radio silent the last 2 days at Fenway. Now they're going back to Houston, down by 1 game, do or die with their whole season on the line. And the Braves, on the other hand, are just, I think, the best team in this postseason by far in the National League, as far as the National League is concerned. The Dodgers got their work cut out for them because they have to go into Game 5 to at very least make it go back to Atlanta 3-2. However, we were in this exact situation. I was about to
say,
right?
They were down 2-0 last year. They were down 3-2. Well, 3-1.
Now, granted, it was in a neutral place at Globe Life Field in Dallas, Texas. This year, they're going to have to go back and win 2 games in Atlanta after winning 1 more in LA. So I honestly think it's the Braves' year finally. I mean, the Dodgers had a great year, a great series win against the San Francisco Giants. But it's looking like it could be Braves Astros at this point.
What do you think? What odds would you put on either one or both series somehow getting to a Game 7? And we get a full ALCS, full NLCS before those series. Do you think those games are wrapping up in Game 5 or 6, both respectively?
So they're both going to Game 6, and the Dodgers have to force a Game 6. It'll be Game 5 tomorrow. The Braves have the over, or they have the under to win this series in 5 games. The Astros have the over as well to wrap it up in Game 6 in Houston. I mean, I think the Astros have momentum. I could see them wrapping it up quickly. Their offense has been firing on all cylinders the past 18 innings, where the Red Sox just seem lost all of a sudden. They look so good 2 days ago. Would almost pick them to win the World Series 2 days ago. And I don't know what happened. That's baseball. The Braves, I think, will ultimately win this Dodgers series. I think the Dodgers, after their Game 3 heroics, win another game at home before they pack it up in Atlanta. I could see them forcing a Game 6. I'd go Dodgers in Game 5 and Astros in Game 6.
And then you think so both of those end before Game 7. We'll get a Game 7 in either CS. That's interesting. As we talked about, how wild in terms of the number of Grand Slams, the number of Game 7s or Game 5s we've had in the past couple of years in the postseason. It'll be interesting to have neither CS series go to a Game 7 this year. Normally that is the case, but it just feels weird. The new normal with the way last MLB season. So I'll be excited. I think
it sucks so much that last year there were 2 Game 7s and nobody actually really got to enjoy it at the stadium. Like it was really, really nerve wracking to see the Astros, who were down 3-0 to the Tampa Bay Rays, come back and win 3 straight to force a game 7. No team in history has ever done that except the Boston Red Sox against the Yankees back in 2004. And given that it was their cheating year too, where everybody found out that they stole signs, that would have been just heartbreaking to watch them go back to the World Series. And then on the other side, the Dodgers and Braves series, I thought was the best series. Cody Bellinger hits the huge home run in game 7 in the 8th inning. Dodgers win it. Then they go on to win the World Series. But time will tell. I mean, there's game 6, there's a game 5. They're not over yet. If last year was any inclination, the Dodgers could easily come back in this series. I just think the Houston Astros are too much for the Red Sox right now. I think they're too inconsistent. They were widely inconsistent all season long, squeaked into the postseason, and all of a sudden, once you're in, everything changes. Anything could happen. And that's kind of what happened leading up to game 3. But I don't know. They just have looked like a completely different team. Like the dime has turned, the past 2 days. So I fully expect to see an Astros team making it to represent the AL. And as much as I want the Braves to go, I do think they're going to win the series. I don't think it's over. I don't think the Dodgers are going to take it lying down.
No, speaking of that, as we draw close to the end of this MLB season, we got some rule changes that are the minor league season gets underway. There's some rule changes that they're testing out in some of the different minor leagues. And as a casual MLB fan, I kind of wanted to give my opinion on some of them as someone who's a casual MLB fan, and then you as a more diehard MLB fan kind of see if any of these rules appeal to both demographics. And so I'll start with this first one. This is for all AAA leagues, and it is slightly larger bases with less slippery surfaces. I believe they'll all be, because it's a diamond, I believe each side of the 4-sided diamond, I believe they'll each be about a half-inch longer, if I'm remembering correctly, and then they'll be made with a material to make them less slippery. I think that's good. I think, if someone can get all the way to that sort of like slipperiness of it, and like having it bigger, just that tiny bit bigger, I enjoy. What are your thoughts on that one? Obviously, that's one of the smaller
I
rules.
don't like that. To me, that's not news.
Really?
Putting the bases back a little bit, like, to me, like, kudos to MLB for like trying, and minor league baseball for trying new things, but like that's like baby steps. Like, I don't understand. Like, if you're going to change something, like actually make a big change, like finally giving minor league baseball players housing that's going to be funded by the major league organizations. Right. But I don't consider that news. Like that's a baby step when it comes to not only player safety, but making the game of baseball interesting to the average fan. Right. Like, I think that's what Jesse Cole, the Savannah Bananas, does so well with, banana ball. He has like a 2-hour time limit. Like, no matter what happens, you only get 2 hours of time, which is interesting. Like, I don't know how that works. I'd have to watch a game, but it's definitely a different dynamic that a lot of baseball fans, at least down south in Savannah, Georgia, are seeming to dig. They love it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of other things that I feel like minor league baseball could try out to eventually see if Major League Baseball would want to adapt to those certain rules. Even though, to me, the traditional baseball fan loves the game the way it is, like the average fan might think it's boring, but if I'm speaking honestly and truthfully, like, I love baseball the way it is. I could sit down and watch a 4-hour 10-inning game because it's exciting. It's exciting to a traditional baseball fan, maybe not an average baseball fan like yourself.
To me, that one, I agree with you. That one's a bit minor. Like, it intrigues me a little bit, but there's nothing that speaks out to me. Next couple ones, I think are a little bit more interesting. This is for all AA. A requirement that all 4 infielders have their cleats within the outer boundary of the infield dirt when the pitch is delivered. So basically no infielder can be kind of any part of their cleat outside of the infield dirt. They can't be pushed back into that, real deep in infield. I kind of like that. I think because some of the things that I enjoy, because obviously home runs are always exciting, but kind of the idea of getting those like in-park doubles or in-park and even some in-park triples, the idea that you don't have an infielder that is aware that they go for like to go those not bunts, but just those like in-park good base hits. The fact that like infielders can't quite take advantage of that as much, because again, it's just start the pitch. They're allowed to go in as soon as the pitch is thrown, so they can be right on the outside of it. So I like that rule. I like starting it in AA first as opposed to starting that rule in AAA. Because that's I think a bit more of a drastic change than the first one. So doing that at a lower level first. What are your thoughts on that?
To me, again, like I put that in the same boat as that first rule. Like why, like that might not change anything. Like there's a good chance that rule literally does not change anything. That's basically all I have to say about it. Cause like, it's just, you could easily lay down a sacrifice button. Someone still throw you out at first base in plenty of time. It doesn't matter if their cleats are touching the dirt or not.
That's fair. Again, that's why I'm not opposed to these. If there's such minor changes, that's why there, but that's all fair. Next one, a requirement that pitchers must step off the rubber to attempt a pickoff or other words, steal. I'm curious your thoughts on that one. Because
they have to step off the rubber first before they even throw the baseball.
To attempt a pickoff, according to this. And that is all high A is where that will be tested.
That'll be tough, especially for left-handed pitchers when they try to pick off at first base. Like that eliminates a huge strategical thing that they're able to do, because a lot of lefties have a great move in where they could just look at home plate, lift their right leg, and then just step to first base while their back foot is still on the rubber, or at least right in front of the rubber. So that'll definitely take away some really good pickoff moves that they're able to use. Yeah, I think that one's kind of hurting the game a little bit. Again, not a drastic change, but yeah, I mean, there's only one way to find out. We got to see what happens.
Yeah,
I'm just not in love with any of these moves, even though they're like so ridiculously small that I don't think you're going to even notice them.
No, that's fair. Next one is very similar. This one is going to be in all the low A leagues, a limit of 2 pickoff attempts per plate appearance.
I love that rule, actually. That finally got me. That rule.
I figured this is the one we both agree on. I know I was more adversarial.
I don't think that'll speed up the game so much. I mean, there's so many other things that slow down the pace of play during a baseball game, but that will definitely do so many times, especially in like big situations, like bottom of the 8th inning, 2 outs, runner on first, 4-3 game, just like 11 throwovers in a row, like the crowd just booing that guy out of the building. Yeah, I never liked that. That never built anticipation for me. That was just annoying.
All right, 1 of 4. We found 1 of 4 we agree on. Let's go.
Yep.
We found 1 of 4. All right, got 2
and we
more.
never agree on anything.
No, we don't. Especially this is, again, being casual and hardcore fan. All right, got 2 more ones left, at least that they're currently. There's more proposals coming down the pipe as the new season goes, but these are the ones that they've already said are being implemented. Next one, 15-second pitch clock, and this is in the low A West only minor leagues. They're testing this one.
I feel like they've been doing pitch clocks for a while now, and it's just never panned out.
30-second. They've been previously, I think, I can't remember what year, they previously tried 30 seconds and stuff like that. So they're trying 15, because a lot of times with 30, that only stops the ones where like people get annoyed, like they don't happen anyway. 15, you're actually kind of, forcing some level of that. And from my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong or if you disagree, to me it creates a different level of strategy because there's less communication the pitcher has with the catcher, less time for it. So to me, it comes more of like when the person's up to bat, you kind of have to. It's more pre-planning, more pre-strategy, as opposed to on the at-bat appearance strategy. And to me, you're just trading one thing for another. I think it'd be interesting. I think it leads to. I think it could lead to more offense. It could be more exciting. I don't know enough. Correct me if I'm wrong about if that assessment of this rule or anything, or you feel.
Yeah, I mean, it really, at the end of the day, eliminates the pitcher's ability to just walk around and dick around the circle before he's able to finally throw a pitch after like a 40-second break in between pitches. So I love that too. Like you're going to have a sense of urgency moving forward and really get on the same page with your battery mate, your catcher and pitcher duo, in order to be on the same page day in and day out. Like for a guy like a Garrett Cole or Chris Sale, that might be not huge of an adjustment. for the average number 3, number 4 starter, like that could pay big dividends down the line. That could really mess with their rhythm. So that one's I'm very excited to see.
Right, 2 out of 5. One last comment on that one though before we go to
40%.
The last one. Yeah, before we go to the last one. One other thing is, do you think that'll affect the way managers handle like relief at all? Assuming that like they are throwing every 15 seconds, like a pitcher, like they're winning down. So like sometimes they take that extra time, not just for strategy, but get a little rest when they're big. The fourth man in the lineup, the big hitters come. They need to have their fastball ready. Do you think that'll affect the way the number of average pitches before a reliever comes in? Do you think it affects manager? Do you think I'm looking too deep into that one?
I'm sure there's going to be a loophole when it comes to Game 7 of the World Series, bases loaded, 2 outs.
Mm-hmm.
And they expect them to throw within 15 seconds. I guarantee you there's going to be a loophole there. Like there's going to be certain times during the games where you're allowed to take a little extra time. Like I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked to see them add like maybe a 3-strike penalty on that, to where managers are allowed to save up and be like, okay, give them an extra 30-second rest here. We'll take the strike.
That would be cool. I like that, because then you decide, okay, when does my pitcher need the extra? I actually really
exactly.
Yeah, no, I agree. So yeah,
I don't think that'd be too complicated.
No,
like you look at all these different rules, like there's rules inside of rules now, but like I think that one would be something that I think a lot of baseball fans could get behind.
That's easy to follow, and like me as a casual fan, one of the few things I like about baseball is the number crunching aspect of it. I think that the money ball sort of side of baseball, that's something that appeals to me even more. And then the last one, it's a pretty simple rule, but I think it depends on age and how big of a baseball fan, on how you feel about it. This is being tested in low A Southeast minor leagues only, and it is the automatic ball strike system. So for behind the plate up, I think that they're still going to keep first, second, third.
Right, they're just not going to have any control.
Yeah,
they're basically there just to give the call now.
Yes, but theirs will be no ump behind home plate. It will just be computer that can calculate the box, and it'll be ball or strike. So but they won't, not as strategic, because they're keeping the umps at first, second, third. They're not doing automated safer out at first, second, or third yet, but at home plate ball strike system automated. I love this. I feel this way about I feel this way about certain rules in basketball. I feel this way about certain ways in football, and it's such a controlled sport like baseball where you can do it in so many regards. I enjoy it. I get in like sports. I love like basketball and football. You can't do it for everything, but I think in a sport where you have the ability to take the human error of a ref or an ump out of the game, and let just these two teams of just these most hardworking, dedicated athletes, let it be up to them and not someone's human judgment on a ball going 90 miles per hour, like at minimum usually. I enjoy this rule, so I'm a fan.
Who determines what's a strike in a ball, though?
It's the computer. It is. So basically, they want to calculate. So basically, the way it's going to use infrared technology. So basically, over the plate, it'll calculate the distance up and down, and then basically it'll infrared. The infrared camera will be filming right behind, right below the pitcher's mound, and right in front of home plate, both filming respectively this direction, and basically infrared lights behind the catcher, and again behind the pitcher's mound will do that, and it'll be able to calculate. So it's kind of sort of the same thing you see on TV, but even more like sometimes on TV they'll show where in the 9 square pitcher's box it was, whether it was out or stuff like that, just using infrared technology. So it is very accurate. It just comes down to the fact that sometimes, I don't know, some people, my uncle hates this person, or at one point hated it. I don't know if he still hates it, because his whole deal was that sometimes the idea of getting it right near the out, but trying to bait them, there's some strategy in that, knowing about the ump. But I don't like strategies that play to that, so I'm completely for this automated ball strike system.
Yeah, I mean, it should be interesting to see because it's never been done before, and I'm very curious to see the players and how they react to the actual system, and if they actually argue anything in the future if this were to take over in the next 5 years or so.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not a 100% guarantee that they're going to like the strike and ball ratio of this computer.
No, absolutely. Even despite it being because there's one thing. There's like what is technically accurate and what has been baseball accurate for the hundreds of years the game is played. Even if technically a ball is a strike or a ball, no ump has ever called it that, in 100 years. Then people, it's like, well, this isn't the same game. I get technically it was, ball or strike. So it'll be interesting, but that's why I like how they're starting it, in low A and only in the Southeast region, starting a very small, sample size. And, so for like some of the other rules we talked about earlier were like all AAA and all AA. This one, it's starting in low A, just one region. So I think that'll be more interesting. So let's think about half of them we agreed on. I think about 3 of the 6 we came to an agreement on. So I like that. I just
Good for us.
I like that the MLB is trying new things. I like that when leagues as old as the MLB still try to innovate the game while still sticking hard to diehard fans. So I appreciate that. So that's our MLB coverage. What do you want? What are we talking about next, Jackie boy?
I think it's halftime. I think we got MLB out of the way, which means it is time for the Michael Cera halftime show.
Yes.
Buddy. As we play our Michael Cera halftime show graphic, what do you got for us this week? Last week we had Robin Cote, our studio producer, our audio producer, come in, sit on the couch with us, and kind of briefly explain how she met him once, and you loved that. You just ate all of that up because you were such a big Michael Cera fan. But what did you find this week?
This week, so it looked like roughly about a week ago, John Hamm hosted a charity poker event. It included people like Don Cheadle, Hank Azaria, Michael Ian Black, and our beloved Michael Cera in a charity poker event. It was an online charity poker event. Each person was, competing for it. And our, Michael Cera is the underdog. Everyone was making fun of him in the beginning, and he was winning the whole game. And then it felt like a Michael Cera movie. And then with 5 minutes left on the clock, he lost, and he lost a big hand. And I think it was, I believe it was Michael Ian Black. I'm not 100% sure on that, but someone took the lead from him and he was down, and then he got a beautiful hand. And on the second to last hand, he just got it all back and then just folded on that final hand, sealing his victory. And he ended up winning $20,000 for
first responders first.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so that'll be a bunch of medical supplies, a bunch of food, even daycare. So it even covers Uber and Lyft pickups for first responders that have kids in childcare, and they have to try and get them our kids in elementary school and middle school, stuff like that, along with obviously the medical supplies and the food. So it was actually a really cool video. It was, let's see, begamblingaware.org that sponsored, so you can go over to their website. They probably can watch the whole event there. It was actually really fun, and it's just a cool event to see him, little underdog, most unlooking poker shark guy you've ever seen win a poker match, win $20,000 for charity. Was just really cool. So that's my.
He's starting to look like what's his face, the guy who played the kidnapper in the Ted movies.
Yes, he is. He is.
That's literally who he looks like right now in the Hank's home game for charity.
He's definitely getting a little bit of the weird, creepy mountain man with the little whole little spots that don't quite fit in the beard.
Giovanni Ribisi, that's his name.
And but yeah, so that's the Michael Cera event for today. Again, Michael, you are always welcome on the O Show or on the Jack and Zach Bet Show. We love you dearly. But yeah, that is my Michael Cera moment of the week.
If you were to meet Michael Cera, what would be the one thing you'd say to him? If you had one question to ask him.
I had one question to ask him. It would probably be more about how he transitioned from that. It's because especially because when Superbad first came out, because that was the movie that put him and Jonah Hill on the map, and he was alone. And Jonah Hill dealt with this in a different way as being the fat guy, but he was still as an awkward nerdy guy. But now he's a business entrepreneur. He does a bunch of podcasting work. He does a bunch of health stuff now. And I was just so especially in an industry like that where people pin you down so much. Obviously, I don't deal with that to the same extent, but when in terms of obviously you have to change yourself, but like how do you deal with like and how do you overcome people pinning you into a box and how do you like let that ignore you and become your own self? Because I think him and especially Jonah Hill have done that better than anyone in terms of people that have been typecast and stuff like that, and they've recovered. Those two have recovered more than anything. So I would ask again, we're talking about Michael Cera, but I would ask either one of those would be the number one question.
Oh, I've always thought that Jonah Hill was the, like quietly the most accomplished film person. And for someone who, again, like typecasted out of the gate after Superbad, and whether it be 22 Jump Street or even Moneyball, you could say he was typecast in the role that he played.
He was.
Right?
It was a drama, but he was still very typecast. So it's still the same character. Absolutely.
So to me, he's sneakily one of the most
director even now
actors.
with mid-90s. He's even going into directing now. No, I agree. Both of them. So that would be the question I would ask Michael.
All right. Enough of that. Again, Michael, you're welcome on anytime. But we've run out of time for Michael Cera here on the Michael Cera Halftime Report, brought to you by BetOnline.ag and Zachary Kelly. Let's do some bets. Let's talk about some NFL bets. It's week 7. You claimed to be the Oracle last week. Nearly almost 80% of your bets turned out to be correct.
I was rewatching it, and it was roughly about right. If I got all of the over-under spreads, I'd have to recheck my math, but I think I was about between 76 and 78% if I did my math correctly in terms of all my picks, spreads, props, all of that. So I was feeling pretty good about it. And I picked and some of them were pretty big, like the Cardinals. Despite not having their coach, we didn't even know Coach Queensberry was not going to be there, and them still blowing out the Browns just like I predicted they would. That went great. So I'll actually talk about the two that I feel most proud of and the two that I feel least proud of in terms of this past week. So the good games: Jacksonville over Miami. Jacksonville beating Miami. That was one that I called. I called that spread correctly, so I feel really good about that one. Again, Cards over the Browns. That one. Especially when found out Coach Cliff Kingsbury wasn't there, and then the weather report of 20-mile-per-hour winds, and the fact that it was going to be really hard to throw the ball, and that even with their backup running back in Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb was hurt. Browns were still the way better running game, or at least perceived better running game. So I was really happy with those two. The two that were a little disappointing, the two bets that made me look like a little bit less like an oracle, was the Carolina over Minnesota, because rule to our audience to forget. When games are that close, because that was I picked Carolina when they were +1 underdog. The thing to remember is that when it's that close and a game goes to overtime and the other team scores a touchdown, you still technically lost the spread. They still technically didn't even. So even though it was an overtime game and I picked Carolina to win, I lost doubly because they didn't win and they didn't even cover. So that one was pretty bad. That one was bad. And then the other one that was bad was my prop bet of Tom Brady throwing no INTs against that Eagles defense. He was a little reckless there. I mean, he still had a great game, but it's almost like he's getting bored sometimes. Like it's comes so easy for him that he's getting bored. So that was a bad prop bet. So those were the good and the bad from last week. And I got some interesting both picks and I think prop bets this week. So do you want to go first with my games, or do you want to go first with yours?
I'll go first with mine, because one of them you said it was just like an easy pick, like we were going through our stuff. I picked, obviously, the Cardinals have the spread. They're the under at 47 over the Houston Texans, and rightfully so, right? They're 6-0. Heading into week 7, you got the LA Rams breathing down your neck, even though you're having your best season in what feels like 15 years since the Kurt Warner days.
Yes.
Kyler Murray is living up to everything that they thought he would when they drafted him last year.
It's his 3rd year now.
See, I got that wrong with Cam Newton too. I thought he was like legitimately like 5 years in, and I forget how old I actually am.
I think the problem is that both those players, there's like players like Mahomes or like Herbert, because he obviously sat for a year, but like with their first year starting is Otto Bet. Both Cam Newton and Kyler Murray had pretty bad first years as starters. So I think sometimes you don't even pay attention to like they're gonna be, oh, this was the first year that was good, so that was their first year, right? So I don't blame you for that. But this is his 3rd season now, I believe, his 3rd season.
Well, anywho, the Cardinals have the spread at 17.5, and I bet the under on that. I say the Cardinals win in convincing fashion, but I'm
Mhm.
going to be that one hooligan out there that believes that the
Texans
Houston
cover.
Texans are going to put up somewhat of a fight. And at the end, it's going to start to slip away from them, and Arizona's going to prevail. But I don't think they're going to crush Houston like the world thinks they are.
Okay. So you're picking it with it like that Texans don't lose by more than 17. Okay, I respect that. You're picking the over under. You said it was I think 41 or to the point total on that. I think can't remember what you said on that.
47. 47. I was
over
going to go with
under.
the under. I'm going to go with the
I
under.
agree with that one. All right.
And then your New York Jets take on the New England Patriots, who are in desperate need for a win after the Cowboys lasted them in overtime. Listen, the New England Patriots, say what you want about Bill Belichick and everything that's going on since Brady left. You know, I've been very hypocritical. I think it is obvious who the mastermind behind that dynasty was now that you see it. The Patriots easily could have beaten the Dolphins. They didn't. Mm-hmm. They easily could have beaten the Cowboys this last week. They didn't, right? They easily could have beaten the Buccaneers at home in Brady's return, and they didn't. And now they sit here at 2-4, desperately needing a win. They're the favorites.
Think about that. They're 5-1 in that scenario, though. So think about that, though. They could be 5-1 that easily. That's how close. That's how competitive the NFL is. You know, just 3 big mistakes in all of those games. They're at 2-4.
I think you're just skeptical. I think you're just one of those New York Jets fans that just hopes and goes to bed every night hoping that the oracle comes out of their ass and they win the game. The New York Jets, they have the over at 42.5. The spread is 7.5. I think the Patriots win in convincing fashion. I think it's going to be the old school Patriots. Because is it at MetLife or is it in Gillette?
I'm pretty sure it's in Gillette. I could be.
Yeah, I don't give the Jets any chance here.
I'm going to
go with the over. I'm going to go with the over at 42.5.
You're so rude. Our defense is not that bad. You're going to pick us not even to cover and the over. That means you're predicting us to get blown.
I know it's only week 7, but this is do or die for Bill Belichick. You really
expect
him to go to 2-5?
You're right. And they ate up Sam Darnold through 4 interceptions last time against Bill Belichick in their first meeting in the season. I think they'll cover, but I'm with you. Jets win, and I don't think I would pick the under. But you know what? That's probably
you just said I'm with you.
Talking.
Jets win.
No, Jets.
I don't think we're on the same page.
I meant Jets lose. My bad. I do think the Jets lose. I think they cover. Maybe that's just the fan in me, but I would bet on them covering. I don't think they're going to lose by more than 7. But
Zach Kelly, that is the most reasonable thing you have ever said.
And then your third and final.
The Green Bay Packers are the 8.5-point favorite against the Washington football team, the former Redskin program. Mm-hmm. They're the under at 48.5. Yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers pops off offensively. I don't think that this is at all a heavyweight battle per se. I think this is a heavy mismatch, and the Green Bay Packers at home too at Lambeau. Mm-hmm. I'd pick the over at 48.5.
So you're picking the over and you're picking them to blow them out. So you're expecting the Packers to win by, it was 8.5. So you're expecting them by at least 9.
Yeah.
Then, by at least I think that's a no-brainer. Safe. No, I agree. I think there are problems that I have with the Packers, but Washington has way more. And at Lambeau Field, they are so good. So I think those are all solid picks. I think it was rude that you had to predict my Jets getting blown out, especially as a Jersey boy who used to root for the Jets. I feel very attacked and betrayed. But you know what? Solid picks all around.
Everyone leaves eventually. I'll give you props there. The fact that you stayed a Jets fan.
It's been after all these 10 years. 10 years been a Jets fan. There were some highs, but mostly lows. All right, I got my 3 right now, and so first one is the Colts versus the 49ers. Colts are 3.5 point dogs. I am predicting them to not only win, but win by 7. So the Niners won't even cover. So Colts win by Colts, solid firm victory against the Niners. As good as that Niners defense is, Carson Wentz is finally coming into form. Formed for a couple of chokes on special teams and defense. The Colts would have beat the Ravens. The Colts were close against the Seahawks. The Colts, I think, are much better than their record would lead you on to. And the Niners, I just don't trust Trey Lance as of yet. He's, again, I think he can be good later, but he is just such a raw prospect. And so and I'm picking the under. I don't think I think I do respect Niners defense enough to where, like, they're not going to let Carson Wentz go all around them. So do pick the under at 44. I'm picking the under for that. And then prop bet for this game is that both quarterbacks throw at least 2 interceptions. Both Trey Lance and Carson Wentz throw 2 interceptions. And
I think that was like the one mistake you made last week with Brady. You said that he wasn't
talked about that. Yeah,
did.
I talked about that in terms of bad ones. But I'm going to be making more of these because you know what? The song is when to fold. I'm not folding up yet. So yeah, that one I'm making a prop bet on that one. To both quarterbacks throw at least 2 interceptions.
Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that one's very, very close.
3.5. Yeah, it's not a huge one. I believe it is on the road, which also might contribute to it. I believe the Colts are going to Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, so it will be on the road, but I don't think that'll matter too much, obviously. But yeah, so I think that'll be interesting. I think that'll be a good one. Next game I have is Bears versus Bucks in Tampa Bay. Bears are 12.5-point dogs. So I do think the Bucks win, but I think the Bears cover just like the Eagles did. So same prediction I made last week that I got right with the Bucks and Eagles, making it with the Bucks and Bears, and about that same spread. I think Bears only lose by about 6 or 7. I don't, even if they lose by 10, I think covering is still safe. Like, a full 2 possession, even if it's a 2 possession game and the Bears just get that, they cover. And then I'm going to go with you may be surprised with this one. I'm going to go with the over at 47. I think Brady will do well because he's Brady, but he won't be not like crazy, but still very good numbers against a solid Bears defense. Not necessarily elite in my opinion, but very solid. And then I don't know what happened to the Bucs defense of last year that destroyed Patrick Mahomes and shut down Aaron Rodgers in the fourth quarter in the NFC Championship game. That secondary is horrendous, and Justin Fields looks like he's finally getting into a flow of things. I think that I'm taking the over on that game. So Bucks win, Bears do cover though, and I'm taking the over at 47 points.
Yeah, that spread is a lot wider than I thought it would be. I know that Chicago's sucking wind, but I guess they are in Tampa Bay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd go with the over too.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be stunned to see that one be a total shootout.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I got the Bucks game completely right last time, so I think my dad has become a huge Bucks fan since Brady went there. So I've watched a lot.
He's
of
become
Bucks
a huge fan of the Oracle, Zachary Kelly. So
you
I gotta live up to your reputation.
Yeah, I feel pretty. Hopefully, this week is as successful as last. Obviously, we're making less picks, but more. Gives it more details on them though. And then my final game for this week is Raiders and Eagles. Raiders are 3-point favorites. I think Eagles. I think Raiders. I believe in Derek Carr. I actually, believe it or not, I think the John Gruden firing might actually make this team better. I feel like Derek Carr might finally get to sit up into a leadership role. Obviously, the assistant coach did well. Again, Broncos. I don't think Broncos is a very good team, but still win against a solid division rival. Derek Carr looked brilliant. The assistant coach looked like they don't look like they're in shambles. That team, and the Eagles are not amazing. Jalen Hurts is still hit or miss right now. So I think that the Eagles don't cover. I think the Raiders win by at least 10. I'm picking the under at 49. I don't think either team will muster up. They each have to muster up at least 25 points each on average to get that over. So I'm picking the under on that one. I don't think both teams score that much. And then another prop bet for to end this little part. I am picking. You just said I believe in Derek Carr. Well, I don't think he's one of the least quarterbacks in the league. I feel like when he's confident, he's in a comfortable situation, like against that Eagles defense, he really thrives. I think Derek Carr, my prop bet is Derek Carr throws at least 3 touchdowns with no interceptions.
No interceptions, really.
3 touchdowns.
I think that this could be one of those wishy-washy games. Like, I'm shocked that you picked this one because I don't feel safe about this one at all. It could go any direction.
Yeah, it's true. Like I said,
literally any direct. Like you just said, like Jalen Hurts has been hit or miss. Like, what if he hits and puts up 40 points, or what if he misses and puts up 3 points? Or on the Las Vegas side, you say the same about Derek Carr. They have not been clicking that well, and they have
3-0 start, but rough since then.
Yeah, that one I'm going to be very excited to watch.
Yeah, I gotta say, the thing is, I know I picked riskier games, but it's you have to challenge Vegas in these things. Like, if you keep picking Bears, Bucks, stuff like that, or some of the other ones, Vegas is okay with you getting those small victories because eventually there'll be the one upset. They'll just get it back, and sometimes you have to go out on the limb. You have to challenge Vegas. So that's why I did two more heavy bets and then one close. But obviously I picked the Bears to at least cover. But even then, that's still a safer bet. So I think overall, and some of the between that and the props, you gotta challenge them a little, have a little bit of a safety net for you, so you're not losing too much. But in order to win, you do have to challenge Vegas. You do have to get them where they think they're confident. So I feel pretty good.
The Oracle knows best.
Yeah,
the Oracle knows best.
Hopefully that wasn't like Jalen Hurts. Hopefully I'm not hit or miss, and this is a big whiff. But it was a great week 1, picking all the games. Hopefully these more select picks turn out just as well. And before we end the segment, you see basketball NBA season has officially started, and there's regular season games, so there's nothing to bet on. But I have one very bold prediction for all of our viewers that I think you should make now, while the odds are in your favor before some of the signs that I think will start showing themselves. I don't put it that way. Neither the Lakers nor the Nets make the NBA Finals. Neither team makes the NBA Finals, nor the Brooklyn nor LA. Neither of those two teams make the Finals. And
I don't know if that's as bold as you think it is.
And then this is the second part of it. I think that's pretty bold. And then the second one, I also say Lakers don't even make it to the conference finals. Lakers don't make it past the second round either. That's the second part. Those are the 3 predictions that I have. In terms of favorites of who getting there, I think Milwaukee has to be the favorite going in. Giannis's jump shot's only gone better as he's practiced. West is a shit show right now. It's just a bunch of really good but flawed teams. So I don't know what I want to see more of the regular season and how things go before I make a prediction there. But I'm really excited the NBA is back. Those are and we'll talk about it more as probably post Christmas when the actual season and games have stakes in this long 82 game season. But those are my big season long predictions. And then if you want an early MVP prediction, I think Giannis actually wins it again. I think Giannis, he took a 1-year break. I think Giannis gets his 3rd MVP.
Well, I'll be on the lookout for those. I don't think the Nets nor the Lakers making the NBA Finals is that bold.
They're both the Nets are the favorites.
Really built that up.
They're both the favorites. So
I would have said that they were the favorites last year too.
But it's the combination of predicting neither. And here's the thing: is injuries. That's the one thing. That's why I say make it now, because I do agree with you that look at what happened as the season developed. That's why I say make those now, and that's why I'm giving this bet now as early in the NBA season is, because placing it now is where you'll get the most, because that's where people have the most, short-term memory. So they forget what happened last season. That's where they forget how some of the other challengers to them, how impressive they were. So I think doing it while even Vegas clearly has short-term memory is your best bet, because I agree with you. If first one that's been for paying attention to the NBA, I don't think either of those, while still picking, unfavorable things, aren't going out on a limb. I think Vegas right now and a lot of betting sites have that as going out on a limb. So I would take advantage of that before those numbers change to more accurately reflect those two teams' odds.
Interesting. Well, I'm definitely gonna be looking out on it, not only just as a betting man, but just to see if you're wrong. Because you gave yourself the nickname the Oracle after getting 80% of your picks right in week 1.
Okay. Derrick Henry was amazing, and that was exactly what I told you would happen. I told you Derrick Henry would run roughshod on the Bills. I don't care that they had the best defense and Derrick Henry 143 yards on 20 carries. I told you that, I'm listening to my duds. I talked about the prop bet that missed. I talked about the Carolina Minnesota game that missed. I was not anywhere close to 100%. I was, wasn't even 80. I wasn't even 80. I wasn't even 90, but I was a very solid thing. And so, you know what? I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back, right? Maybe this
You
week
took it on the
puts
chin,
me back
Zach,
in
and I
order.
love it. I appreciate you. I
Yeah,
appreciate you wearing my hat tonight. I appreciate you wearing the Jimmy Buckets t-shirt.
Yeah, Jimmy Buckets, baby.
Kudos.
Jimmy Butler. Woo.
Tune in to NFL Thursday Night Football tonight. Again, the O Show is presented by BetOnline.ag. Earn a 50% welcome bonus up to $1,000 on your first ever deposit at BetOnline.ag. Use the promo code capital BOL 1000. That's capital BOL 1000 to earn your extra 50%, and it will be added to your sports book betting bankroll instantly, with a couple of those key perks being a minimum deposit of $55 required to qualify for the bonus. And of course, the free play allows you to earn for the sports book. They cannot be used for the race book, casino, poker, live betting. The free play you earn are for the sports book only. But again, that promo code is capital BOL 1000 to earn your extra 50% using that code and that bonus code for betonline.ag. This was Jack and Zach's Sports Bet Show of the Week.